Hey everyone, yes, today we finally get to talk about The Batman. There are spoilers. Me and Brian cry. Nick creams his pants. All of this in this issue. Brian, play the intro. Coming to you from 1920 Philadelphia Street, Whittier, California, in the heart of Uptown Whittier, Keeping Up with the Nerds presents issue 88. I'm Rene.
This is Brian.
And Nick.
And welcome to the show, everyone.
Woo!
Woo!
We did that on one take, guys.
Yes.
Good job.
You did.
Solid work.
To be fair, I was working on the intros this morning. Since I woke up.
Have you been working on that this morning?
I've been kind of just like, I want it just short. I don't want to go too much into it because if I talk too much into it, I'm gonna go blah blah blah. Yeah.
So he was hyping himself up, but not too much, which is good.
Have you been edging all day?
Yes.
Just like you finally released. Good for you,
guys. This is issue 88 is not where we're gonna get sexual. Okay, like no, I understand it's for both of you guys. That this is the movie y'all been waiting for, but y'all gotta relax.
First off, we've been leaving hints for a while.
This is the issue where both Nick and Rene lose it. They make it to 45 minutes. It's like, guys, I gotta go back. I can't do this. It's too much.
Dude, I have a change of shorts in my pants.
Say that again.
I have a change of shorts or a change of underwear, really.
No.
So you double layering it?
No,
double layering.
Oh wait, is that what you meant to say? You have a change of shorts in your pants?
Yeah, that's what I meant to say. And then
Are you sure?
And then I flubbed it.
He messed up on his own joke.
I messed up on my own joke.
Quite, I'm just like, wait.
And then I was
gonna just let him go with it.
Then I was
wanted listeners to be like, "What did he meant by that?"
I thought you were just gonna keep going, and then you questioned me.
I'm gonna
it.
let you.
Then you questioned me on it, and I didn't know where to go.
You questioned my ways.
Ladies and gentlemen, quick announcement. What announcements before the podcast issue starts? Before our main topic, the Batman? Yes, a couple of announcements, guys. So we are doing something special for all of you listeners, everyone out there. Unfortunately, we are going to have to limit it to the base US, mainly because we are going to be mailing some stuff. But look at what we have here for our
This is my copy.
I was gonna say that's Nick's copy.
That's Nick's copy, but these are two copies that we have extra. If you guys do not know what we're talking about, then you're listening to it on audio platforms. Check on our YouTube channel. Why? Because in front of me here, I have two issues of The Batman Long Halloween issue number 1 special edition covers that we got at the fan preview event that we went to on Tuesday. It was the first fan preview that was allowed.
Yes, it was the very first showing to the public.
Yes, of the Batman. These are special covers that were only given out during the preview event, and we checked online. They're going for a pretty high price for what comic books usually go for.
Yeah, give or take.
Yeah.
And you guys are probably asking, how do you guys have 2 extra copies? Why are you asking questions?
Why are you asking questions? We're giving away 2 copies to you guys, and there's a couple rules that we're going to be going in. There's a couple rules that we're going to be doing in order for you guys to get your hands on these. And again, we're going to be very strict on these rules because we want to make sure that we are giving them to people that are listening to our show and that will be supporting us through and through. This is our special thanks to you guys for listening to us and supporting us and spreading the word. Nick, hold the go ahead and show off the why can't I think of the words? The comic books.
Yes.
As I talk about how exactly you get your hands on this. Yes, please. How you guys can get your hands on these issues. So, number 1, you guys have to be following us on Instagram and Twitter at Keeping Up with the Nerds. If you guys are not familiar or not sure exactly how you guys can get on that, you guys can follow us. If you guys are not following us on our Instagram, go ahead and follow us. There is a link tree to all our links on there, our Facebook, our Twitter, our Instagram. You guys only need to be following us on our Instagram and Twitter for that entry. Then subscribe to our YouTube channel at Keeping Up with the Nerds. Subscribe to that, and on either one of the 2 videos that have been released, the podcast version of this or the video where Rene and Nick talk about the analysis of Gotham. If on one of those 2 videos you guys leave a comment with the word Batman on there and then some stuff of as well, like what you guys liked about the Batman movie and stuff, that is your first entry into this contest. Again, I'm going to repeat that just to make sure that you guys all understand what's going on. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Keeping Up With The Nerds. Then subscribe to our YouTube and make sure you guys leave a comment on either the podcast video or the video that talks about Gotham and its analysis featuring Nick and Rene. The comment does need to say Batman on there, and then maybe some extra add-ons about what you guys liked about the movie, or maybe your takes on the video, exactly what you guys liked about what we talked about.
I will accept 2 extra entries if you put Spider-Man sucks.
No, that is not part of the rule.
That does count.
That is not part of the rule. How can you get 2 extra entries, you say? Well, let me tell you. 2 extra entries to this competition, this little giveaway that we're doing. You guys have to share one of 2 things. Either video that does come out featuring Nick and Rene, or Nick and I talking about the Batman, tagging us on the socials as well. So if you guys want to share us on IG, go for it. On Twitter, again, go for it. But make sure you guys tag us in those videos for that entry, okay, to count. That is one way of doing so. The other way, the extra entry, so you guys have a max of 3, share the podcast, issue 88, and again, tag us on Instagram or Twitter, whatever site you guys share it on. That is going to be a second extra entry. So for a total of 3 entries, you have 3 different chances to win this giveaway. Does that make sense?
Yes, I was totally paying attention to what you were saying.
Yeah, I know. You guys did an excellent job showcasing all that.
I can't wait, because you were paying attention to that camera, for you to play that back.
If you guys want, again, more confirmation exactly how the giveaway is going to work, everything will be in the description of issue 88 here. You guys can go ahead and read that as well to make sure that everything is all good. I wish you guys all the luck on getting these 2 extra issues, because they are pretty damn good looking issues.
We will announce it next week.
I want to give it a little more time, just to give some people some time, because we do have a couple listeners that kind of take like a week or so to listen.
Okay. So we'll do it mid-March, if anything.
Mid
this month.
I'll say like probably mid-March, probably end March. Keep an eye on our IG for up-to-date information on when that giveaway is going to be, announced. Okay. So again, just make sure you guys do all that. Yeah.
It's gonna be late March.
Please, just as long as you're in before the end of March, you should be good.
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll let you guys know. But again, you guys have to follow us on our IG and Twitter for all that up-to-date information, because this is important. We want to make sure that everyone who listens and wants a shot at this has a fair shot. So, all right, guys.
Don't worry, and we will mail it out to you.
Yes.
Don't worry about that.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
A couple other things. Follow us on keepingupwiththenerds.com, our website that we've been advertising for the longest time. We've already had it for almost a year at this point. Okay, I'm talking, Nicholas.
What?
Stop playing with your toys. You can play it later, okay?
But it's the Batmobile.
I get it. I know. It's a beautiful
Batmobile.
Batmobile. KeepingUpWithTheNerds.com. We have 2 articles up and going.
Hey, really quick, before you continue, can you say, I got you?
No.
Please?
No.
Please?
Tell Rene to say it.
Rene, can I say it? Can you say it?
Oh. I got you! I got you!
Thank you.
That is a scene from the Batman. KeepingUpWithTheNerds.com. KeepingUpWithTheNerds.com. There are 2 written articles talking about the Before the Batman novelization featuring Rene, Nick, and I's review of the book, as well as a written review, spoiler-free, of the movie that have both come out over the last couple of weeks. Now, fair warning, this issue is all about the Batman. All of it.
Yes.
Every single minute.
And we are going to spoil the heck out of it.
All of it. Every single ounce of it.
Rotten.
This is the issue you guys want to avoid and then come back to once you have watched this movie, because we will be spoiling this.
Yeah, you want to pause it, go to the movie theater, get some popcorn, go watch it.
Get some M&Ms, put that in your popcorn, put a little salt and butter on it.
That was a genius move that you did.
That was pretty good.
Why is everyone so shocked when I do that?
I've done it. I used to do that when I was a kid. I just haven't done it in a while.
So
I've been doing the jalapeno thing for like years
that's
now.
still pretty good. That threw me off though when you gave me the little box of popcorn and you had jalapenos in it. So I'm like, oh, there's jalapenos in here. I'm like, okay, no problem.
So we've given you guys another minute of warning.
Yeah.
Spoilers. It's going to happen. I'm giving you another 5 seconds of spoilers, okay? There's a spoiler warnings. We're going to spoil everything about the Batman. And let's start. What do you guys think about the movie?
Dude, it was dope.
Awesome. I honestly loved it.
So, hold on. It's just so that we're at least moderately orderly.
Moderately orderly.
Moderately
That's
orderly of this about this movie. I feel that we should kind of break down our favorite moments of the movie. I mean, it's a 3-hour movie.
Yeah, or
it's
at
a
least
3-hour picture.
We can each go by and just say our favorite or memorable moments.
Brian, what is your most memorable moment of this movie?
It's standing right next to me over here. That's the Batmobile.
That's true.
Dude, this Batmobile is sexy.
This Batmobile is just beautiful. I'll say this. I am very satisfied with the fact that we only got to see it for like maybe 5 to 10 minutes of the movie. It wasn't showcased a lot. It was under covers.
Yeah, I actually really did like that because it was like a tease. It was like nice little tease of like, oh, don't worry, when you need the Batmobile, it'll be there.
It's there, right? And aesthetically, I'm all about the aesthetics of the Batmobile, right? For me, you guys already know I don't like the Tumbler. And that's not just because I just don't like Christopher Nolan's interpretation of the
because
Batman.
of Nolan.
It's not.
Partially.
I just don't like the Tumbler. You know,
Is it too bulky?
It's too bulky. It just doesn't feel like a Batmobile. It just feels like a tank.
It's too circular.
It's a tank. It's not a Batmobile, you know? And this is very early years Batman. It's a torn down muscle car. It's got the jet engine in the back. It's
heavily modified.
It just looks like it looks like a young adult's car.
I can't wait when someone actually builds that.
I want to see it.
Like an actual car person.
I can imagine someone's probably already working on it.
I want the Warner Brothers Studios tour to have this featured somewhere because I did see the Tumbler on there.
I think by the either end of this year or next year.
This car, they know what they're doing. Yeah. If Hot Wheels has an RC version of this and they're making, and Lego is releasing all of this stuff, they know what they're doing. Yes, this is a very sexy looking Batmobile.
I just love the Lego version of it because it actually does have the lights.
Oh, showcase it for our vision for our.
Here's my little lights. Then you got a little engine. Yeah, engine lights.
And then when you drive it, yeah.
And then it has like little pistons. Dude, there was a lot of detail that went into this car.
It's so great. And the scene that it was shot in, that was one of the first scenes I cried on. Because it was it shot so well. It was so great. And the audio, I can't wait to take Andy to go see this. I want to see it again, first of all. I do. But
I can't wait to see it a third time.
But in IMAX with the sound design and everything, I just felt like I was in there the whole time. It was so beautifully shot.
My buddy was pleasantly surprised because when the Batmobile came on, the entire room shook. Like, it was fine. Everything was like, people are yelling, everything else. And then like the engine turns on of the Batmobile and it just goes, and like you can just feel your chair vibrate.
It's a character.
Yeah.
It's its own character. I mean, we do have a video up on our YouTube channel where we talk about, or where both of you guys talk about the analysis of Gotham and how it itself is basically its own character.
Yeah.
The Batmobile kind of acts that way as like a sidekick to Batman. It like shows up and it has that personality of like, you see me, you're screwed. And you see that with the Penguin.
I love seeing it. Not only that, but also I love seeing the fact that it was hit, like other cars hit it, and this car had no damage. Yeah. Like this car was just going through stuff.
Yeah.
You could tell it was heavily reinforced and stuff. Even the windows were bulletproof or, somewhat. Took on
some form of like a bulletproof window and everything else. I just love the idea of like this thing. Even though it looks like a muscle car and it feels like a muscle car, the thing's a dang tank. Going just revving down the street.
Sleek tank. Ugh,
Can you stop fingering my Batmobile?
Stop.
Like, I just see you like.
He was no lie, man. You were like this.
So good.
You were like,
I'm like, Jesus Christ.
I
do you and the Batmobile need a room? Jesus.
No. I'll be fine.
You had a question. You hesitated.
You hesitated.
No, you know what?
You were like, maybe.
So have you guys? I've shown you guys a photo of the wall of Batmobiles that I have at home.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So I can't wait until Hot Wheels does this because I also collect all the like the die-cast movie aesthetic looking ones from Hot Wheels. So I have like the Miami Vice Ferrari. I have Kit in Pursuit Mode. I have all the I have most of the Batmobiles. I'm missing like 2 of them. I can't wait for this one. So
the only thing for the Lego one is I wish it did have more lights to it for like the back.
You can just add them.
You can add them.
Yeah, that's fine.
I kind of wish it out of the box it had it. But I mean, that's besides the point.
Nick, what's your favorite part of the movie?
I would have to say it would be the interrogation scene.
The
Riddler, what was it with Edward Nashton and Batman inside?
When they finally meet.
When they meet in Arkham Asylum, I feel like that is my favorite moment because just him chanting Bruce Wayne's name.
That was such a good
and that moment where it's just like so tense because when I went to go see it again, I thought like that scene isn't going to hold as much like gravity because I know it still has high tension to it because because Edward, by this point, Edward is already been he's already been captured. He's already kind of murdered about 5-10 people. How many people has he murdered at that point?
A handful.
At least like 6.
Yeah.
At least 6 to 7. But anyway, he's already murdered a bunch of people. Batman thinks that he knows who. Did you break it?
No, I'm just looking at it.
Anyway, Batman thinks that Riddler knows who the Batman is.
Yeah.
Because he has this, because he's noticing on the wall, he's seeing like, unmask the Batman. I know who you really are and everything else. And I just think it's such a tense scene of, hey, Riddler is going to out me. Yeah. And I'm going to be his final victim, and I'm not going to be able to be the Batman anymore.
We talked about this on the ride home, Rene and I, and it was funny because that entire, like, there's certain moments in cinema where when you watch it in theaters, the theater's just like quiet because it's selling you on a certain scene, and that was one of those scenes.
Yeah.
But credit has to go to, Reeves for directing the sequence of events that led up to that. Because at every point of the movie, Batman was on those riddles, like left and right, just picking them. So when he figured out, the last person that he's going after is me, you were sold on that fact.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when that interrogation scene happened and he's chanting Bruce Wayne, your initial thought was like, oh, shoot, like he's figured it out. No, like how is he going to get out of this and stuff? And then it's sold that he didn't know.
Yeah, he goes, Bruce Wayne, he's the one we didn't get.
Yeah, he's the only one we didn't get. And I was like,
breathing a sigh of relief with Batman. It's such a great scene.
Everyone in the theater that we were in, everyone was like, oh.
And you know what I have to, I love the fact that we went to that fan event just because I felt like everybody there was a Batman fan.
Yes. Yeah.
Like they were the ones that were like, I need to watch this movie first.
Yeah.
Like, I need to watch it 3 days early.
Again, I feel so blessed that we were able to do that. Thank you again for getting those for us.
No problem. But I thought the one of the most interesting things I thought, because I was talking about it with my brother later on, was that Edward Nygma multiple times told and gave them clues to who he was. Because in the very beginning, you see the pictures that he took of the mayor and the and the woman.
Sorry, no, I'm checking on.
I was gonna check it for you. Keep going.
So you have I was about to say, I was like, did I miss something? What happened?
No.
Is the building on fire?
Batman, he's
Batman,
there.
He's here. He's in the darkness.
I see the bat signal.
But it's so interesting that like, what was it? You see the mayor's like pictures with the woman, and everything else, and they were asking all the right questions, but they weren't asking the biggest question of where were the photos taken. And if they would have answered where the photos were taken, they would have found Riddler.
The answer's right in front of you. Yeah, that's true.
Because he took them right outside his window. That's how he knew everything that was going on in the Iceberg Lounge. They kept on asking, he knows this, and they just figured he kind of like scoped it out. But the only reason why Edward understood how it worked out was because he lived across the street.
Yeah, he was seeing all of the people go in and out of Iceberg Lounge.
Yeah, honestly. Because he lived across the street.
Yeah, he was able to physically see them all. Yeah. Yeah,
and it's so interesting that if he would have just been, okay, cool. Like, where did the photos get taken? Then that's it. In the mayoral campaign scene, if you look at it, Edward Nygma's in the background. He's in the side corner of it, and you can see Edward singing in the choir. That's why I'm saying there's so many little tiny like clues that Edward is giving where it's like my name, like this is my name. I also loved the Patrick Parker, the fact that he had 2 different IDs. Because Patrick Parker is a known alias of the Riddler. Like from like way back. So like that was like a nice little like Easter egg that they put. Nod, it was a nice little nod. So in general, I just really like the Riddler. The Riddler was a dope villain.
Rene, what was your favorite part?
I think for me, it's hard to just pick one, but I do, if anything, if there was one thing that I liked was that struck me was when Riddler reveals that after he's in Arkham, he has his full-on master plan at the end. When it's revealed that he's built a following and he has his little basically his cult
Did you see me point it out at the movie theater?
Yeah, I saw you, and I was reading the like not the comment, but like the comments of during like the live stream when you're watching it and stuff, and it's like they're hinting at that, and they bought masks and stuff, and like
yeah, because
you guys were paying attention to that. I was trying to pay attention to the username and see if I can pick up some Easter eggs. On
No,
I was reading the comments. I was reading the comments because the first thing I saw, because I didn't look at I did the old magician's trick. Don't look at the middle, look at the sides.
Yes.
Look at what they're not trying to show you. So when my buddy was watching, when I was sitting next to my buddy and my brother's boyfriend, as soon as I started reading the comments, the first thing I said was, he built an army. And then they both turned to me and go, what? And I go, and that's when I pointed at the comments, and they were like, oh no.
Well, that's it. Well, that's what I really enjoyed, because you always see in past Batman movies, like, how do these villains obtain goons? How do they get followers and stuff? They basically revealed he live streamed at a dark web on a secret website.
Could not have been had to be one of the funniest things, because he literally did what we do every single day. Hey guys, thanks for the support.
That was the best way he opened a video, because I was just like, Jesus. I was like, this man.
In the era of podcasting and live streaming, that was hilarious. But I also love the idea that Edward found a home.
Yeah.
Because in the book, it says that Edward never had friends.
Nope.
And it's such an interesting moment.
He was always a loner.
He was always a loner, and he finally found a community that loved him and was like fully behind him.
Well, that's the beauties of the internet.
That's the beauty of the internet, is that no matter who you are, you'll always find somebody that has like-minded views. Same thing with I thought that was really cool too, was inside of the interrogation scene. The scene where Batman calls him like, you're disgusting, you're weird, you're and that is something that people have called him his entire life, and he's always hated it. And I love the idea of, as soon as he starts insulting him and calling him these names, that's when Riddler starts freaking out and going like, no, that's not how this was supposed to go.
And to jump off of that, I loved at the end where how Riddler's so overconfident with himself. He knows that, I've won. I'm outsmarted Batman. And then at the end of the movie, where he's listening to the news, how Batman stopped everything and
he saved
Gotham City, and you see him crying and freaking out, because I'm like, that's how the Riddler is.
Well, not only that, but also the news is turned. We're no longer talking about the Riddler. We're talking about Batman and how he saved people. So it's not about how the Riddler has destroyed all of these things. It's about how Batman has saved people. So he was able to change the dialogue of the news.
And he's just in his cell screaming and whining and stuff.
Yeah. To your point, it's interesting that Peter Craig and Matt Reeves writing, these characters, they made Batman a one-noted character, whereas they made the Riddler a two-note character. And I really like that, because it's usually the other way around. Like, if we think of, the most recent Batman movies, and I'm not talking about it because it's Christopher Nolan, but Batman Begins, right?
Yeah.
When we think about Batman fighting Scarecrow, for example, right? We don't really get two sides of the Scarecrow. We only get one, right?
We're just shown that he's there.
He's there, right? And then
he's terrorizing Gotham.
Exactly. With Batman, we get the playboy philanthropist Batman, or Bruce Wayne, and then we get the crime-fighting vigilante Batman, right? In this movie, I feel like Craig and Reeves both wrote Batman with the intention of, we are going to give him the young, the Batman that does not know how to separate himself. He only has one identity. He doesn't know how to be Bruce Wayne. He only knows how to be Batman. But with the Riddler, it's a two-note villain, where you have Edward essentially manifesting his, the creation of himself, of who he wants to be, how he wants to be perceived. His true identity, right? At the expense of his own freedom, because he wants to send that message. And just when you think that his plans are foiled, there's more to it. It's a twist on it. It just doesn't end with him being captured. We mentioned this also in issue 87. We also didn't want the villain to die, because it's like, we're getting tired of that.
Really getting tired of that.
We didn't get that, which is great.
The two things that I loved was the fact that Batman's identity was kept, and the villain didn't die. So now we can build a rogues gallery. I love it.
It was a good direction to head into, because we were satisfied with the ending that we got in the movie, and we were also satisfied with the fact that the villains could be potential figures in upcoming sequels, and Warner Brother does greenlight whatever sequels.
And that's the one thing that, other than with the exception of No Way Home, that's what superhero movies haven't done lately is have all of our villains come back in a single movie. Mm-hmm. You know, with exception again with No Way Home. That's the thing.
I mean, even in No Way Home, all those villains were dead.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
They just happen to use.
They're from different timelines in the multiverse.
And they were able to bring them back to life. But in all reality, all those heroes, all those villains were dead. Yeah. But I really like that. I love the idea that Joker, because that's who was in that scene, was the Joker.
Yes.
To then have him kind of like building a kinship with Edward, and kind of like, you know, them starting to build that like that stuff, that you know, that community of the Rogues Gallery. I'm most interested to see that scene though. I do want to see the Joker and Batman's interview, because I think that would be sick.
Did they shoot that scene?
They did.
They did a shoot scene, but the
scene was cut.
Yeah.
It's in the movie.
They did, yeah.
That is the thing that I really like about this movie, is that you can tell there was more to it. Like there's certain pieces, and it's not because the director felt like these were like part of it, and to shorten it for like the distributor, they like shortened it. Yeah. You can tell that Reeves has extra parts that they're probably going to include in the DVD release of this movie.
Dude, if there's a director's cut that's 5 hours long, I'm in.
I don't think Reeves would be making a 5-hour cut movie. I think if maybe anything, they'll just add another like half hour to like 45 minutes.
Reeves cut.
Hashtag Reeves cut.
You really think that Warner Brothers won't do it?
Yeah, dude.
They'll do it with the success of Snyder.
I want a Reeves cut. I want a black and white cut. I want a Reeves black and white cut.
A black and white version of this movie would be
sick.
So cool.
It would be, because honestly, the colors don't really pop all that much, but because of like the noir, like I would love to see that raining scene. In black and white.
Yeah.
Like that chase scene. That scene. It would honestly. You know what it would look like? It would look like Sin City. It would just look like Sin City.
I should have said Sin City first. I was like, dang it, I had it in the back of my head too. And then you just said it. I was like, dang it, dude, I could have said that.
It would have looked like Sin City.
And I was like, no, I don't want to say it because Nick's gonna make fun of me. And then he says like, look what you did.
I made him question himself. You have good ideas sometimes, Brian. Sometimes.
It's very interesting to see the direction that this movie took. It was satisfying to kind of see everything that we asked for in a Batman movie to be in this Batman movie. Our initial first impressions of this is that we all loved it. All three of us loved it.
Yes. No, I thoroughly loved it. I was still at awe. I was like still coming down from a high watching the movie, honestly. But this is honestly my favorite Batman movie, my favorite DC movie of all time right now.
I mean, there's not much competition when it comes to other DC movies. The other DC movies,
there is.
I mean,
you got the Nolan movies, but you know,
Nolan,
yeah,
the Nolan movie.
No, but I mean, like you do have the Nolan saga, and then you have like movies like Wonder Woman.
Yeah, Wonder Woman, the first one.
Wonder Woman's pretty sick.
But that's the thing that I'm looking at in terms of this movie, is that like when I think of other DC movies and franchises, those were kind of taken as like popcorn fun movies.
Oh,
this
absolutely.
is like that's the thing, is I can't compare.
It's a popcorn fun movie.
Like
there's a light tone to this.
There's somewhere there's certain scenes that have light tones to it.
I did not realize that I was panic eating. You know that moment where you're just like,
scene?
No, just in general through the entire, like the tension was so high on that movie.
Well, I loved
that. I'm just like,
I loved how in
and
the
then
beginning,
I reached down and went.
You're just shoving popcorn in your mouth, you know. But what I loved was that you get the vibe of the film in the first, I guess, 10 minutes when you're following the mayor in his apartment or in his house.
Dude, I wouldn't say the first 10 minutes. That's like the first 30 seconds of that movie.
And then just like Riddler's just right behind him after he moves.
I didn't even notice that he was there.
Dude, I was like, I noticed so cool.
I saw when that scene was happening, he turns off the TV or he like puts it on mute to answer the phone. That's when I noticed him. I'm like, oh, that's sick. Well, let's talk about this. You know, speaking about how this kind of progressed, let's talk about the story progression of this movie, because it is a 2 hour and 55 minute movie.
56.
50. You keep correcting me. I say 52, you say 55. I say 55, you say 56.
No, he was saying 56.
I keep saying 256.
2 hour and 56 movie.
I'm
2 hour 56 minute movie.
Check your facts.
Trying to keep you factual. Just trying to keep you factual, man.
It's a long movie.
4 minutes is a lot of time.
Yes, okay, I agree with you. It is a long movie, right? So it is there's a lot of different things that I feel like Matt Reeves and Peter Craig could have fit into this movie, and they did so successfully. It's really great because, for me at least, if you read the prequel novelization, you were rewarded pretty well watching this movie.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. So at the beginning of the movie, we kind of get the last line of the book retold at the beginning,
Yes.
right?
Which I told a buddy of mine about that. He was just like, "Are you serious?" And I go, "Yeah."
Yeah.
Literally, that's the last line of the book is the first line of this movie.
You know, and I think I put it in my review where it does it in the review for the novel, where you really don't need to watch it. But like you said, I mean, to read it, you don't really need to read the book to watch the movie. But like you said, it is a nice reward.
It's a reward.
Yeah, it's basically a reward. It doesn't feel like you
did the extra work,
like how Star Wars does it, where it's like there's heavily references on certain things, and if you read the book or watched Clone Wars, you would understand.
The other thing that I thought was really interesting from the book, because people kept on saying, "Oh, how did he figure out what was happening in the renewal fund?" I remembered he went to school to be a forensic accountant. Yeah. I kept on, like, as soon as they were going, like, how did he figure it out? I went, he's a forensic accountant.
Yeah. That was like towards the end of the book. Yeah.
It was
doing puzzles.
He's doing puzzles and he was a forensic accountant. Yeah. So I was like, oh my God, that makes sense.
Right.
He went through the books.
As soon as he mentioned the renewal, and then you see, like, I was like, oh, that's right. He was part of that.
He went through the books. He helped go through the books of the renewal fund. So obviously he would know.
And that's when he found out the truth.
And that's how he figured out that where the money was going.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really sick. It really did lead a lot to it. I mean, they mentioned the fact that he's a forensic accountant.
Yeah,
but it's in slight passing. It's not like.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah. It's supposed to just to explain
how he figured it out. Yeah, because in the book, I mean, in the movie, they just say we didn't get anything on the Patrick Parker, but we did get a hit on Edward Nashton. He's a forensic accountant. And that's kind of like
that was supposed to be like, oh, that's how we do.
Yeah, he's a forensic accountant, and then just kind of like move on.
So the interesting about this movie is, in terms of story, we start off with a year 2 Batman. It's stated in the beginning that this is a Batman that has donned the cowl for 2 years, and that he is basically trying to bring justice to Gotham through vengeance. And we have the shocking scene of where he beats up one of those guys at the beginning of the movie.
Mind you, it does open with him narrating.
Yes.
It's never happened in a Batman movie.
No. To have an inner monologue?
Yeah, and have an inner monologue like in a comic book.
But it does set up the kind of character and Batman that we're getting in this movie because, and this is what I loved about it, you have this Batman that hides in the shadows and is essentially the boogeyman of criminals. That when they look into the shadows, they fear that someone's there. That they can't be doing anything.
I love that.
That was a real cool scene. I like thinking of Batman as the Baba Yaga.
Yeah,
I love just thinking of him as the boogeyman.
The boogeyman of criminals, and like, you know, you see the spray can just fly, and they're just staring at the dark, and
they're like, is he there? I'm not doing this.
Is he there?
Like, if I go through that darkness, am I gonna get my butt kicked?
Well, it depends what you did.
Is he gonna break my jaw?
So that's the initial setup of the movie, and then throughout the whole process of this movie, I really enjoyed this. You get to play along with the mystery. Yes. Yeah, I get that Batman kind of like figures out the puzzles like then and there super quickly. Yeah. But throughout the whole movie, you don't really see Bruce Wayne. This isn't a Bruce Wayne movie. This is a Batman movie. 80% of the time, maybe 20, I would say 10% of it is Bruce Wayne. Yeah. The other 10% is Bruce Wayne and Alfred. Yeah. Right? Yeah.
Dude, I wouldn't even say 10%.
Like 5%.
Well, Alfred's like 5%.
Yeah.
Dude, like, honestly, Andy Serkis is a great get as Alfred. He does a great job of giving that fatherly figure.
I'm still Jeremy Irons. I still like
Jeremy Irons is dope, but Jeremy Irons, I feel like, has more sarcasm.
That's what I like about his Alfred. He's very sarcastic, which I love. I love this Alfred because he's more caring, he's more loving towards Bruce.
But I also feel that the sarcasm comes with the faith that he will come back.
Yeah.
Once he becomes more established,
that he's
less worried that Batman can't handle it. then the sarcasm and the snark kind of starts coming in.
I hope so. By the second movie?
Yeah, because honestly, Andy Serkis can throw a lot of snark. He plays a lot of characters.
He played the Claw really well with that, from Black Panther.
Yeah.
He was a great villain.
Right, yeah.
He was a great villain. He plays. I made it rain. He's all
he plays great snark. He has great sense of humor and sarcasm, and I love it. Honestly, who I thought was kind of a showstopper was Jim Gordon. Gordon.
Oh, that's Jeffrey Wright.
Jeffrey Wright's Jim Gordon was awesome. Here's the thing though, you always kind of in every single one except for like the Joel Schumacher and the Tim Burton movies, everything from Nolan to now, you have that not intimate, but I mean you have that in-depth relationship with Gordon and Batman, where Gordon is because he doesn't have a Robin, he is his one partner in this crime fighting business.
Can I help you, sir? Sir?
Hey, sir.
Keep going.
Okay, so anyway, that Jim Gordon is there. Even though I love Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman's Batman.
He's such a great actor.
He's such a great actor. He's
in most of my life of watching movies. He was Dracula. He was Borg. Borg? Was it Borg from Fifth Element?
Oh,
Zorg. Yes.
He's Zorg. He's also inside of what was it? Air Force One.
Yeah.
Get off my plane.
Get off my plane.
Anyway, but Gary Oldman is an amazing actor, and he's a really good James Gordon.
Yes.
But I never felt that James Gordon and Batman were partners as much as in this. Like the scene where Batman is at the very end inside of Gotham Square, where Batman's getting shot at and he's trying to fight off like 10 people at once, and he's getting shot, like he's just getting like blasted and everything else. And I love the idea of Jim Gordon seeing his partner in danger, the man in which he's been like my ride or die this entire time, this whole week, because it takes place over a week. Yeah, the overall movie, thinking like this whole week, this guy has been near me, this guy has been right next to me, and we've been trying to solve this, and I gotta go help him, and just going like, how do I get up there? Like I kind of don't care about what's going on down here. I need to get up there because I need to back him up, and it's so great. I love it.
I love the scene when they're talking in the police
and the police
no him and Gordon, where there's just like, they're like, just give us a minute, and they're talking, they're like, so what do you think we should do? He's like, his face, he's like looking. And, he is. But I love it though. It's not. What
does he say? He goes, because he's like, oh, you're like just like one of them, and he goes, we gotta get you out of here.
Yeah, we gotta get you out of here. How about you punch me in the face? And I love it because Jeffrey Wright's doing those facial things where he's like acting like he's getting mad, but he's trying to like actually talk to him.
I also love afterwards where he's just like, you could have held back on the punch, and he goes, I did.
That's another thing. So I loved the one thing I always critique when it comes to a Batman movie is how does Batman fight? And in the Nolan ones, he fights very slow. He's very broody. He's using his arms. He's not moving fast.
It's still a cinematic fight. Like those fight sequences last, like they're meant to be on screen for like maybe 2 to 3 minutes so you can enjoy the fight scene. Yeah. I get what you mean.
Yeah, but don't get me
wrong though. It feels like they have a lot more technique inside of Nolan.
Okay.
So so moving on from that, the BVS one, the warehouse scene, that was my favorite fight scene, if anything, because I loved how Ben Affleck twirled around, or the stunt double twirled around, jumped around, and stuff like that.
That was not Ben Affleck.
Yeah, that wasn't Ben Affleck. To be accurate, that wasn't.
It was not Affleck. Yeah. All right, it was not.
That's
him.
an Arkham style fight scene.
It was.
That's what I loved.
But here's the thing, though, that the reason why that's really cool is because one, yes, it's very Arkham-esque where Batman is using his gadgets. He's throwing stuff on the ground. Yeah. He's grappling hook people around, like he's taking people out of the fight. That's really cool. But also that's also year 30 of Batman.
He's been Batman. He's a seasoned Batman.
That's a very seasoned Batman. Like I've been Batman for the past like 20, 25 years. Yeah. He's older, he's grizzled, he's been doing this a while. So it totally makes sense that he has more gadgets, he has way more techniques. But for a Batman year 2, his fight style is great.
So what about his fight style?
So what I loved about his fight style is that it is a mixture of the Nolan one, but he's moving faster. He knows you could tell it's actually karate that he knows.
It's 1-2 hits.
Yeah, because you see him like in the iceberg lounge when he comes up to that one guy in the alley or like in like the hallway, he just goes doo doo, and it's just like he goes down on the ground. But you could feel that he puts all of his might into those hits.
The sound effects really do a lot for giving that like that thunk, that like he just got hit.
It's interesting because I think I was telling you on the car ride home, Reeves is really great at showing you more by showing you less, or saying more by showing you less. And you can tell that this Batman is just like, how can I take down these people as quickly as possible? Yeah. You get that in the first sequence of events when he's fighting like those 8 different guys in the little, station, the little train station. Yeah. It's like just a quick minute fight scene, but he's taking down people left and right as quickly as possible. The alleyway scene in the iceberg lounge, or the hallway scene where he just takes him out pretty quickly. With the cops, it's just about pushing him out of the way as he's running.
He doesn't want to hurt them.
Doesn't want to do anything. The other thing that really got me was when he's going after the
other Riddlers.
No, not the other Riddlers. What's his name? I can't think of his name. The mob boss.
Falcone.
Yeah. So when he's going afterwards or going after him, and he's going down, or the elevator scene opens up, and he's just kind of like hitting the corner before he falls down. It's aesthetically beautiful. Okay, and that's all credit to the cinematographer. Let me look him up real quick.
Which they actually used the same scene in BVS.
Yeah, where he's in the old abandoned house.
Yeah, he's in the old abandoned house, and he's like up on the roof, and he's like
very Grinch-like.
Yeah,
but you don't need to see the entire fight sequence. You already know what he's gonna do, and he's pretty much taking down these goons literally 2 punches.
In the dark.
It's raw. And it's just unhinged. It's great. The other thing about this Batman is that he's willing to just walk straight into gunfire. No fear.
The thing I really liked about the fact that he's not afraid to jump into gunfire is the fact that it kind of just seems like the armor that he has, bullets just bounce right off.
Yeah.
Like it can take one hell of a pounding.
He feels obviously the force, but he's just like, and just walking, and
he keeps on going.
Yeah.
And I love the idea of that because it makes it, if I was a criminal and I shot a dude with a rifle and he went like this and then kept coming like a Terminator, I would be definitely pooping my pants. Like I'd be like, oh, I chose wrong. I definitely chose wrong in my.
I got it. Boom.
like the scene where the guy just is unloading rifle shots into his chest, and then he eventually runs out of ammo, and he's like, why?
Greg Fraser is the cinematographer. We'll talk more about the cinematography and music composition and
who did the music?
Michael Giacchino.
Yeah, he did.
He did a lot of Pixar work.
He did. Yeah. So look at what other stuff he's done, because he's done other projects.
So before we talk about this,
I think he also did the Apes movies too.
I think so too.
So we'll talk about that in a bit. But I do want to talk about, because we were talking about the casting. Robert Pattinson. The Pattinson. What do we think about him?
Oh, I love him.
Okay, here was my only thing with it. Is I noticed that for some reason Matt Reeves kept shooting him from his right.
You know what I think it is? He has like a chiseled part right here that doesn't match his other side.
He kept shooting it from his right, but I thought it was weird because the way the mask was, it would make one eye smaller than the other, so it really did look like Robert Pattinson has a lazy eye. He doesn't though, because like when you see him like straight on, it's gone.
Yeah.
But every single time I would see Batman inside of this movie, I'd be like, oh, that's Pattinson has a lazy eye. Like I kept on thinking about it. I was like, I never noticed that Pattinson had a lazy eye. What the heck is this?
Yeah, because there's the scene where they arrest Edward. And Edward's looking at you, but he's actually looking at Batman through the window. And they do a great shot of Batman standing there looking at him. It's a great little steal. I want to just have that picture. And he's kind of like there. It's this right side specifically. It's
always from the right,
focused. Yeah, right there.
I was like, I'm not sure if Pattinson has like a. It's not even a lazy eye. I think he just has like a droopy eyelid.
Oh, that could be it.
Like I think one eyelid is just like slightly lower than the other one.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal, but I just thought it was like it became
like, why
more.
is there always one-sided Batman?
Yeah, I kept on wondering like why does he keep on doing that?
That's
then
the cinematic side.
Then because then I kept on looking at his eyes.
My best side.
He's
Everyone's
like,
got a one side.
But what did we think about his acting?
Oh,
I loved it.
I loved it because it's
he does a great Batman.
He does a great Batman, but shows a different type of Bruce Wayne.
Yes, and in terms of the Batman, we were talked about this that he doesn't have the Batman voice yet, which is really
he has
great.
a Batman voice.
He has a Batman voice,
but it's a young Batman voice.
It's a young.
He's still learning.
Not only that, but also the thing I do like about this one is they do something in this one that is far different from the other ones where it's a lot closer to the books and also towards animated series of Batman has a mission. And he will do anything for this mission, even if it means dying.
That's the thing.
Like he never says it's all about the mission or anything like that inside of the movie, because he does say that inside of like multiple comic books, multiple like animated series and stuff like that, where he just goes like, you know what the mission is. Like he always tells Dick that. He always tells like the Robins and the Bat and like pretty much the Bat family. You can tell that if this Bruce had a Robin or like a member of the Bat family, they would be all about the mission. Like the mission is to save Gotham.
Yeah.
And whatever that takes is whatever it takes, even if it means we die. And yeah, it's so interesting. It's such an interesting point of view of, because Nolan's Batman was much more of like I'm going to save Gotham, but he was less likely to, I'm going to sacrifice my life doing it, until you got to Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
Where he was like, okay, if I have to kill myself, I have to kill myself. And then he didn't kill himself. And then he got then he gave, Selena Kyle beads.
What? Okay.
It's the pearls.
Yeah, sure.
Give him his mom's pearls.
Yeah, sure. Anyways.
Martha.
Continue with your point.
So what was my point?
I just wanted to stop at beads.
I stopped it. I stopped at
You
beads.
delivered the punchline and then forgot your conversation.
I did. No, I'm gonna be so. What was I talking about?
Yeah, good job. Anyway, so Robert Pattinson.
I think it's just means that we just need to move on.
Yeah, we just need to move on from that. Thanks, Nick.
Okay,
no, but here's my take on Robert Pattinson's idea of, or how he kind of wanted to interpret this Batman. You can tell that I kind of want to assume that Reeves, when he told Robert Pattinson, like, okay, like, how are you going to interpret this character? You can tell that he only focused on being one, which is the Batman.
Yeah.
Because when you separated, Batman and Bruce Wayne, he had to have those scenes with Bruce Wayne. There was no difference. He was still analyzing his surroundings. He was still trying to figure out what's going on. The only moments, and even still when you had those sentimental moments, when he saw the mayor's kid basically be depressed because his dad died, that connection was still made from the Batman into Bruce Wayne, and he carried it onto, further, Batman progression. There was no separation, which is good. Because
he doesn't know how to play act. He does not know how to play the rich boy.
He doesn't, which I'm fine with, because my biggest issue is when you look at the different Batman that have existed over the years, you always say, oh yeah, no, Christian Bale, he was my favorite Batman, but as a Bruce Wayne, not so much. Yeah. Oh, Michael Keaton, he was a great Batman, but as a Bruce Wayne, no, there's always a separation. Here, it's, yes, Robert Pattinson is just a fantastically well done, well-crafted Batman. That's it.
I'm not gonna lie, I really like Val Kilmer's Bruce.
Yeah.
Oh, his Bruce. Oh, yeah, his Bruce was actually pretty good.
That.
Yeah.
The only one that
Val Kilmer's Bruce and George Clooney's Bruce are probably my favorite.
But see, you have to separate those two, and here we don't really. The only one that I could say that probably you don't really need to separate, and it's only because it's voice acting, is Kevin Conroy. Kevin Conroy just does a great voice for a Batman and does a great voice for a Bruce Wayne.
Well, that's the thing. When it comes to doing the Batman voice, it's more of just like straight talking, but just lowering your tone. With Robert Pattinson, he did his normal voice, but just kind of like talk like this.
He just became broody, and that's about it.
No. Yeah. I was talking about it with a buddy of mine, and I thought that, and I think I caught it. It's he's emotionless as Batman. He puts absolutely no emotion behind his words.
No, you said it yourself. It's to the mission. Just focus on the mission. That's it.
And I love the idea of he is very black and white.
Yeah.
He's black and white. He has no emotions towards this. He has nothing else, because if you notice when he starts yelling at Selena, more Bruce was coming out. More of like that privilege in his high pitch was coming out.
Yeah.
Because she even says, the way you're talking, you must have grown up rich.
Yeah.
Because obviously money never meant anything to you. Which honestly, if Selena went with that, she would have been like Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
He made it the perfection. Now, Zoe Kravitz as Selena Kyle, Catwoman.
Yes.
What did we think of her?
Love
Because
her.
apparently she's getting heat online for not doing a good Catwoman.
Dude,
but we
I
all
think-
said that she was fine. She was great.
I talked about it with a customer where they were afraid that this Selena Kyle would be.
God damn it.
Where this, I shaked for a second. Where this Selena Kyle was gonna be exactly like how Anne Hathaway's was, where that she's trying to find a way out. She's desperate. She's and it's like. And it's kind of true. They did a little bit of that. But more of the lines of like, this is her early on stages as Catwoman. She's not even called herself Catwoman. She just knows that she's a cat burglar.
She does kind of
She's
refer
a
to her as
burglar?
a cat,
Yeah.
because she does.
But she likes cats.
She mentions it a couple of times
Yeah.
where she's like the cat and the bat.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the bat and the cat, which is, I believe, a comic book.
Mm-hmm.
That it was a comic book title for a while, where it was Batman and Catwoman like together. But I do have to admit, I took her as a more believable Catwoman than actual Anne Hathaway.
You resonate more with her, the way that they explain her story, where her living situation is and stuff. And
Her character was more refined here than it was in other
not
different
only that,
iterations.
but also I get the relationship more too. Like her fault, Anne Hathaway and Bruce Wayne. If you like really push it and you're really kind of like starting to think about it, you can go, yeah, I get it. Like, I guess
you can see the attraction.
I can see the attraction, but I don't really see them. Like, I don't really see Bruce Wayne giving his mom's pearls to her.
Yeah.
I mean, just because he's probably going to give them to like Talia al Ghul, because she's the only one that slept with them.
I know. Wanna know my secret identity?
No,
You want to know my secret identity? No, but what was it? But I do like the idea that you can kind of see them bonding, you see them talking, you see them connecting, and her having this kinship with Batman.
But there's this kind of like essence where, because that's the thing I don't understand about people who are not liking this iteration of Catwoman. Like, what is their interpretation of a good Catwoman?
Yeah.
Because for me, it's like, a Catwoman has to be, I get it. There's that sex appeal. There's that kind of like low voice, that kind of like, oh, you think you can get me, but you can't. But you forget that there's this troubled personality behind that person. And Zoe Kravitz does that perfectly well. Because, half the time I wasn't thinking about the whole sex appeal looking at her. I was like, okay, she's a troubled individual who's trying to get to the bottom of this mystery of who murdered her friend. And she's trying to get and use every tool in her assets to essentially get to where she needs to.
Yes.
Right. But when she presented herself, you didn't lose that appeal. It was still present, but it wasn't the front part of it.
Right.
It was more about that personality, which is great. That's what you need in a Catwoman, especially in a Catwoman that's trying to progress a story, not just from her side, but from a Batman side. So I have no problem with her. We do have to move this along because we're already hitting that 50-minute mark. I do want to talk about other casts as well.
The other thing is that I really did think it was interesting because they did give us Long Halloween.
Yes.
And it seemed, and from what it sounded like, is what Matt Reeves did is they were like, Long Halloween is a great base. And we're just going to use that.
Yeah.
Because
the opening took place around Halloween.
Opening took place on Halloween. It takes place on Halloween. Not only that, but also Falcone is introduced to Bruce Wayne. They have a history together because Thomas Wayne fixed him up when Falcone was younger at the behest of his dad.
Who played Falcone in this? Do we know?
Oh, I don't
Greg
know.
DeToro.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was really great. Really
He was
good.
great.
He was
Really
actually people have been giving him a lot of flack too.
I feel like people
like,
are giving these casts
again.
like flack for nothing. Like, here's the thing.
It's a way to kind of just like, you know what? I didn't like the movie because
Just
I
go up to the
wanted
cast.
because I want to stand out. That's why people are critiquing this movie
Just go to
as much as they are, because I've said it before. They don't
John
want to
Turturro.
blend in. John Turturro.
Yeah. John Turturro did an awesome job as Falcone, but I do think, and that's the thing that I don't understand why people are giving him flack, because people are going, I don't get the casting. Like, why would you get John Turturro.
It's different.
But I think it's because people know John Turturro for his comedy. Like
Mostly for his comedy.
I think if that's the case, you've only seen John Turturro in like Big Lebowski.
But these are like modern day interpretations of characters.
Yeah, like in Adam Sandler movies. Like I feel like you haven't really like gone into John Turturro's like.
He has a history of like in the early 90s,
he has
early
a
2000s.
lot of like serious movies. Yeah. He's a great actor.
Mm-hmm.
Just because he's a comedic actor doesn't mean that he can't do these real.
Bill Burr and The Mandalorian, they were giving him crap to cast him in there, and then he turned out to be a really
Bill,
good character.
not only that, but they brought him back.
Yeah,
like,
I feel that comedians know how to play a serious role sometimes, or even do serious movies.
They can do it.
Yeah,
they can do it.
Well, because if you know how to make something funny, you know how to make something relatable.
Yeah.
So they really know how to take that material and then make it something that's real.
2 more cast members I want to talk about: Colin Farrell as the Penguin, or Oswald Cobblepot, and Paul Dano as the Riddler.
Yeah, Paul Dano. So real quick, I thought it was funny because one of my coworkers actually went to go see. One of my staff went to go see the Batman last night, and she was like, "Man, like." My favorite thing was the Penguin. Like I loved the Penguin. She was like,
he
that
stole
guy.
The scenes that he was on.
Yeah, the scenes he was in.
He stole them.
He stole them. I understand why he's getting his own series. I really do. But the girls that I was talking to, they were going, "Who's that actor? Because that actor really needs to get used more. Like I've never seen him before. Like what else has he done?" And I was like, "That's Colin Farrell."
Yeah.
And they went, "What?" And I go, "That's Colin Farrell. That is Bullseye."
That's Bullseye.
That's Bullseye. That's what was it? And I feel like no one gives Colin Farrell the props for his acting abilities.
Yeah.
We know him for the kind of goofier roles that he does, but Colin Farrell can act.
He can. He has a good accent to it too, which is really cool.
He does a great American accent.
Yeah.
He does, and it kind of has that Boston to it. Like it has that roughness.
He knows how to do American accents from like different, not just like the straight American accent. He knows how to do like ones with have a tone. Like he knows how to do, like you said, Brooklyn, New York.
A lot of people from across the pond will always say that Western, like Southern accents, are the easiest for them to pull off.
Yeah.
But a Brooklyn or Boston accent, those are so hard. They're so rough, just because like the tonation and everything else. And he nailed it. Like he really nailed like this is a because I took it as this is a Gotham accent. Like this is like from the slums of Gotham.
Yeah.
So for me, what really got me was that this penguin was a mixture of a serious, very like lethal penguin, but also a very awkward, funny one that's still trying to figure out how to be a mob boss. Yeah. And it's interesting because you'll have those like moments of humor where he's like, he's very snarky. Those comebacks, right? Especially when they leave him behind after they try to figure, or they think that he was the rat that ratted out.
I love how he was waddling like a penguin.
Yeah,
he's like, what? Neither of you guys know Spanish? World's greatest detectives.
It reminded me of a penguin from the Batman animated series.
Yes,
that one, right? Yeah. So it's that one.
I just love the fact that he's not short, fat, and
that's the thing.
And he has like the webbed hands. I am so tired of the Tim Burton's penguin being a thing. It needs to be done away with.
It needs to evolve. Yeah,
because just because Tim Burton did it in the early 90s doesn't mean that we need to keep doing it.
You can tell that they wanted to keep the aesthetics of the penguin through that nose. That was it.
But it's not even that sharp. It's just he just has a big nose.
He's got
a big nose, and he has like the receding hairline and stuff.
And he has the scar.
Pretty much, yeah.
And he has the scar on his face, and that's kind of it. He does have a limp later though, because of Batman. Because Batman injured his leg and crashed into
the car crash.
Yeah. So speaking of reimagined characters, we have Paul Dano, who plays the Riddler, who is not the Riddler that we all know either from the animated series or from his movie interpretations from Jim Carrey.
It's completely different.
Different.
Have you ever seen the movie There Will Be Blood?
Yes.
Yeah.
That is kind of the version of the Riddler that we got. Like his version of the preacher inside of There Will Be Blood. Where like he's like preaching to the choir and he's getting these people on his side and everything. I loved it. I loved the way that he was able to kind of have like these Saw-esque moments with his victims, and that was just a really cool really interesting idea. Yeah, Paul Dano was scary.
I love
with or without the mask too. Both. Like I say both.
I think he's scarier with the mask.
Yeah.
But he also has that he has the Dahmer effect.
What were you gonna say, Rene?
No, yeah, I was just gonna say. Originally, I thought he would just be more scarier with the mask, but when like you said, it's the Dahmer effect where when he's unmasked and he's just kind of looking at you, like if you catch him just staring at you, it still feels very unsettling.
Mm-hmm. You feel like you don't know what he's gonna do.
Yeah. That's the thing.
He fit that aesthetic because that's the kind of thing that you think about. Because like, I love how the initial response to, oh, the first villain for this Batman movie is going to be the Riddler. What? That's so weird. What is he going to do? No, it fit. It worked well because Paul Dano, it's Dano or Dano.
People need to get over the fact that like in a Batman movie, you don't need Joker as the first villain.
No, you don't. Well, thanks for answering my question about Dano or Dano.
I've heard of both ways.
Yeah.
I've heard it both ways.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So that's the thing is that he plays that very awkward, nerdy dude that is frightening when you know that he's got a mission statement to uphold.
He reminds me of a Columbine.
Oof.
Yeah. No, but that's the thing.
Yeah.
He does. He reminds me of like a person, like if you were to go over like a school shooter or some person who was radicalized and did some kind of like horrific thing,
very
like,
radical minded.
Yeah. Then you would kind of see the same things that are going on in Dano's life. You know, he was an orphan. No one really liked him.
Nashton's life.
Huh?
Nashton's. Oh, it's Dano.
I mean, yeah, in Nashton's, in Edward Nashton's
not the
life.
actor. The actor's clean, all right?
Yeah, the actor's pretty cool dude.
He's pretty cool dude.
He just knows how to play really weird characters. Yeah. But honestly, if you were to kind of go into that mindset of looking at people who have been radicalized or extremized, you can see the same kind of pattern of like never fitting in, never always being picked on, you know, always wanting to get back at people, always wanting to kind of do the right thing. And it's very extreme on what he did. But it fits. It really does fit the personality and the aspects that they have with it.
Yeah, Matt Reeves took a lot of aspects of like how today's society is and how it affects people, you know, and made that very realistic.
Yeah.
That it could happen.
100%.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like so much that, because that's the funny thing is that when you think of the Riddler and his crimes and stuff that he tried to like, you know, the way he instigates the Batman to kind of have to fight him, right? Yeah. He's using his mind.
Yeah.
And yeah, it messed with him from the aesthetics to the traps that he laid out to the way that he approached them to try to figure out certain things to take down, to assist them in taking down, you know, Gotham's elite. It's very modernized. 100% agree.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, even in the Gotham games, like when the Riddler's puzzles are always the hardest thing in the game. They're always the thing that is like the most infuriating thing in the world for you to figure out or do or anything like that. But I've always noticed that as soon as you are able to figure them out, the actual fight with the Riddler, easy. Like it's like one of the easiest fights in the game.
Because he puts more time into his traps.
He puts way more time into the traps, thinking that you're never going to figure them out. And that he's safe. And it's so interesting to kind of go like, yeah, but I'm Batman.
That's the thing. That's one of the things with Arkham City. I've never fully finished all of those Riddler traps. That's what I'm doing now, is that now that I finish the game, I have more time to focus on getting those Riddler traps.
I feel like you and I
done.
play these games differently because I can't progress the story without trying to finish the Riddler
riddles. No.
But then I
through
realized
that, I'm just like, no. For me, the story. That's why the same thing with like the Spider-Man story, where it's like it makes you feel. I feel like the main arc is like I gotta do it. I gotta worry about screw the side missions. I gotta focus on the main thing. Yeah.
So for me, if anyone wants to add some final points to this, I think the best part of Paul Dano's performance as the Riddler was when they get him at the coffee shop and they slam his face on the table. He's just looking at you.
He's looking through your soul.
Yeah, he looked at the camera directly, and that was the most disturbing scene out of everything. Forget getting your head bashed in through like some carpet tool thing. Forget like, you know, the bomb strapped to your neck. That wasn't disturbing. What was disturbing? That look he gave. Perfection. Also, that was great.
I noticed on this viewing how hard they threw him to the ground.
Yeah.
Like they threw him so hard it cracked his glasses.
Yeah.
Like you just see like this crack in the glasses, and yeah, it's a hell of a scene.
So do we move on to? Do you have any other points, Rene, before we move on?
No, it's good.
Cinematography and the music composition for a movie of this quality to have that those kind of shots and that kind of music, it's not seen as much. It's great.
You know what the thing is that I noticed, especially for the music composition, because they do have their own kind of Batman theme, which is so great. It's such a great theme. But I did notice that this is one of the first Batmans since I think like The Dark Knight Rises, or no, not The Dark Knight Rises. Since BVS or anything else, where pop music had been added in, because they had Nirvana, they had a couple of other like 80s like tracks that were in there that were like very rock, very like somber tones to them, but they really do fit inside the Batman. Especially Nirvana just
the way they utilized Nirvana in this movie is actually really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I mean, I haven't been that excited to hear a song like that since Kiss from a Rose.
I know. You know what? I was watching Batman Forever, and I was like, "This makes me want to listen to Kiss from a Rose." So
it really does, right? Especially since you're. It's my go-to karaoke song, man. Dude, it's my karaoke song, bro. Like every single time I go to karaoke, I always gotta sing it. I always gotta do it.
Oh, okay. So Wikipedia does have
what
a list because I thought that I was looking at Michael Giacchino, and Wikipedia usually has just like a list, but for whatever reason on him, they have like a paragraph, and I'm like, dude, I don't want to read through all that. But then you look at the bottom,
he did Bond,
and there's
he's done The Incredibles, he's done Bond, he's
Ratatouille, Up, Inside Out, Coco, Jojo Rabbit, which was kind of weird because I don't remember the music from Jojo Rabbit, but
it's the childhood wonder songs that are there, like when he's frolicking with Hitler,
but
which sounds way worse. So it sounds so bad.
So here's the thing: when I think about music composition in a movie, I think about how it fits into the aesthetics in certain shots, right? Especially with Batman, it's kind of difficult it's not difficult, but there's certain elements that need to have certain moments in music that will make it fit in the scene, and you get that, especially when he's like emerging from the shadows or when he's coming from the ceiling down to fight. Like those sequence of events, his appearance is what changes the tone and the beat of that music, and he did a fantastic job there. Like when you think about the Batman animated series that came out in the 90s, like the music there went alongside a lot of the sequences featuring the Batman fighting certain goons, right? And you have that same aesthetic feel to this movie. Turns into cinematography. Let's see who did it. Because I can't remember the name.
Well, because I do think that Giacchino does definitely take from the Nolan verse with what's his name?
You think it's Nolan? It's the
Hans
Nolan.
Zimmer?
With Hans Zimmer, because there are a lot of moments where he has that note that holds
the dun,
the dun, but instead Hans Zimmer uses a lot of bass inside of his music, whereas this was more of a melody that was being played.
It's very Batman animated. That's what I got out of it.
But the thing is that because the bass gave you a lot of dread, a lot of different stuff, whereas this one gave you a lot of eeriness. It was it was like that uncomfortable note that was being played, and you just wanted to stop. Like you just wanted I just want this to stop. Or it had like a lot of suspense that was just built up behind it, and that was kind of like the best parts about it. Because the only problem is that with Hans Zimmer's Batman score, it got tiresome after a while. Like it does put you into the mood of the movie.
The thing is, what Hans Zimmer would use when it comes to those uncomfortable parts, it's like a high note, that ringing. Yeah. Like, just that whole time to make you feel like, something uncomfortable is happening, especially in The Dark Knight. Yeah. But, and then when like something like really bad, really cool is happening. But what was it? When something really cool is going to happen, he has a lot of bass added to it. Yeah. Where it's just like, boom.
It didn't overwhelm, here in this movie, it didn't overwhelm the scenes that you were watching.
No.
It worked with it. And you said it yourself, Rene. You're just like, I kind of want to listen to the soundtrack by itself. And I'm on that boat as well. Like, this is one of those few soundtracks that I'd like probably put on in the background and just listen to it because it was so well crafted for what we were seeing visually on screen. In terms of, and I was looking up Greg Fraser. He was the cinematographer for this, the director of cinematography for this film.
He knows how to shoot a movie.
I didn't know that he shot Rogue One.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
He shot Rogue One. He shot Dune. Snow White and the Huntsman.
Zero Dark 30.
Let Me In.
Well, that's the one that Matt Reeves did. So that
he did The Mandalorian Chapter 1, Chapter 3, and Chapter 7.
Huh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He shot the first episode?
Yeah.
Hey.
So he shot the first episode?
I might have to rewatch the first episode.
Hold on, go down. Let me see the Mandalorian episodes. So he shot the very first episode with Dave Filoni. So that was the
Mandalorian, literally.
That was the first episode. The episode
Sin
3, which was the Sin. Which one was that one?
That's the one where
let's see. The Mandalorian delivers the child to the client. So it's when he delivers the child.
Oh, when he drops the child off to the client.
And then the Reckoning, which is Chapter 7, receives message from Grief Karga, overrun by Imperial troops by the client. So it's when he goes back.
Oh, it's the episode where he goes back and there's a bunch of and the Mandalorians die.
Man is full of talent, and what
those
are actually
episodes.
really good episodes.
Great episodes, yeah.
What I love about the way this movie was shot was that I felt like every scene had a purpose to it, and it wasn't just trying to show off, something. Like it was trying to deliver a message. So like for me, one of the scenes that stands out, right, is when he's on top of Gotham PD's.
I was just gonna mention that. Yeah.
Okay. So maybe I'll
go ahead.
Okay. Wait, which one is it? The one
it's
where
when he
is
escapes.
it when he's waiting for? Oh, you're talking about he's on top of Gotham PD.
He's on top of Gotham PD. He puts on his suit
jacket,
and then he jumps, right? You have that sequence where he just lets himself fall and then there's a camera right behind him. So you get to see everyone scrambling to him. Then there's another shot where it's like outside of a building and it's him just zooming past. Like it feels like every single sequence there had a purpose and a different way of showing you how you could see this, right? What was really great was...
Because I watched it with a buddy of mine when I was watching with a buddy of mine last night. That scene where the parachute catches and then he goes straight up into the rafters. And then he just kind of falls over and he's just like, oh man. My buddy was like, oh, what is he wearing? Like he'd be dead. Like
he was flying at like over like what 50-ish miles an hour.
Yeah, like my buddy was like, "Oh, dude, his neck is broken. Like the Riddler won.
He is dead.
Like the Riddler won. Like the Riddler was just like, and then my next trick for Batman dies jumping off a building. Well, I guess that's done. All right.
Well, I did like how he got his cape and put it over him, and you just see him zip it up, and just kind of goes like he pulls strings and it just tightens up. And I'm just like, what the heck?
What?
I'm like, what?
It just turns into a squirrel suit.
Yeah, it's a squirrel suit, and he's just, and I'm just like, dude. This is awesome.
We both looked at each other.
Yeah.
Here's the beauty about the way this was shot as well. It enhanced his suit that much more because Batman's known for what? His utility belt.
Yeah.
Right? No. It's not the utility belt. It's his utility suit.
Yeah.
And we both looked at each other.
I think we also forget to mention his grapple gun.
Yes, he throws it up there and it just comes out of his wrist.
Well, the thing is that I thought it was interesting because I was mentioning it to Rene earlier. Was the fact that he uses his grappling guns like a quick shot in a western, where like he just like and he'll shoot the grappling guns. Not only that, but also the way his footsteps are brought into every single scene.
Yeah.
The only thing it's missing is spurs. And honestly, there were certain times where I was like, is that a spur? Like when you listen to it, it sounds like a western. Like the sheriff is walking into the building.
Well, he's enhanced. I mean, it's boots. He's walking on boots. So it's probably the same aesthetic.
You're like obligated to kind of just like walk like that. Just like goom, goom, goom.
Yeah.
Goom.
No, I mean, the audio of his boots are obviously leveled up. I mean, they're doing the same thing that they did with Bane inside of The Dark Knight Rises, where like his footsteps just sound heavy.
Oh yeah.
But it really did kind of give me that vibe of like, this is the sheriff of town. Like this is the guy that like, as long as he's here, there's no mischief is allowed, and he's in like this is law.
I wouldn't call it mischief. Mischief is putting it lightly, dude. That guy is not there to handle some mischief. That guy's handling like a bunch of stuff, man.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's only a little bit of murder. Come on. In Gotham,
I did like the drugs.
In Gotham, murder, not a big thing. Not a big thing.
I did like how they kind of like said, oh yeah, their way of drugs were drops.
Yes.
Like you can't show people do cocaine. You can't show people like light up a pipe or something like that. It's like drops. they're selling drops.
You know what? But I think that's such an interesting idea of I'm going to show people on drugs, but also putting you in the world of the Batman of like, oh, this is an alternate kind of like, because it does lead to that kind of supernatural, not necessarily supernatural, but that fictional thing.
Yeah.
Of because you see it a lot in like Batman the animated series, you see it a lot in the comics, you see it in especially inside of was it Batman Beyond? There actually is a drug.
Yeah, there is a drug. Yeah,
there is a lot of drugs that like go through the eyes.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Or they do like those patches.
Or they do the patches that are like the nicotine patches. And the only reason why they did the nicotine patches is because they couldn't do anything else.
Yeah.
Like they were like, how do we do drugs without doing how do we do Bane?
That's the thing. That's how they were limited in this movie because Colin Farrell openly said that he couldn't have
a cigar.
He couldn't have a cigar for his character because now I guess it's either in Warner Brothers guidelines. Oh yeah, is it here in the US?
Yeah.
So the rating system is like, you can't have them in a PG-13 movie smoking, like at all.
But you can cuss.
You can have one F-bomb.
You can have one F-bomb, which they used very well.
Yes.
What part was it?
It was like early on.
It was like the first line. It was like one of the first lines of the movie because he goes, "Merry effing Halloween."
Oh, that's right. He says it to the Batman.
He says, "Oh yeah, you must fit in. This must be your favorite time of year. Happy effing Halloween."
Yeah, it was that cop that didn't like him right away, and then at the end of the movie,
that's right.
It's Commissioner Savage.
Yes,
that's right.
Which also, I'm pretty sure that's a cutscene.
So I'm going to move this along because we're going to be running out of time pretty soon, and this is going to be a heavy one to wrap up this issue with.
Yeah, sure.
Potential sequels to this movie. Now we've both said all three of us have said there's a possibility that we might not want a sequel if we don't know what direction this movie is headed in. But is it safe to assume that we kind of want to see a sequel happen from this movie?
I want to spend more time in Matt Reeves' Gotham. I want to spend more time with Pattinson as Batman. I want to spend more. I just want more time in this world that Matt Reeves has really built. So a sequel, I would love. I would love a sequel. He's already said that if he were to get a sequel, he would love to do Heart of Ice, and I think that's such a cool.
Oh, that's right. He wants to do Mr. Freeze.
Yeah. The biggest thing that you can do for Mr. Freeze is Heart of Ice.
Yeah.
That's like the number one thing. As soon as somebody goes Mr. Freeze, you automatically go Heart of Ice.
Yeah.
That's plain and simple. So to do a live action Heart of Ice would be insane because the thing is that if you notice, Matt Reeves does a really great job at having 3 to 4 plot lines all going on at exactly the same time.
So that's a great thing about this movie, that he laid out so many different sequel potentials that he could go moving forward, with Hush, with possibly Joker and stuff, but also
Court of Owls
and stuff like that. Even moving forward with Penguin, like progressing more with Penguin in this one. That's what I like about this movie, is that there's no definitive storyline sequel.
I have to go here.
Yeah. He's like, I'm going to give myself options and just see how I feel.
This movie ended in a way that if it doesn't have a sequel, it doesn't, like, if it doesn't get greenlit for a sequel, that's fine.
I mean, I don't know. I don't see why not. But at the same time, like you said, if it didn't and something happens where, I don't know, like
it's
someone messes up something, I'm not, but, and I'm fine with just this movie, honestly.
It's a standalone, it's a standalone movie.
I feel Warner Brothers wants to build more on Batman now, especially after this, because they know this is a money grabber.
Not only that, but also you guys were mentioning it the night after the premiere, or on the fan event, was that Batman is the one exception that apparently we have for the Oscars. That it's not going to get put into that new category of like fan favorite movies. This is a movie that could possibly go for best actor, best supporting, best cinematography,
best screenplay,
best screenplay, best score, best score.
Yeah.
Like it actually has those potentials.
Yes,
because of its because of the fact that a Batman movie could realistically be just in generally a great movie, not just a great superhero movie. And I feel like that's what this is. It's a really good movie. Like Alone, like I keep on saying it, a great Batman movie is a movie where if Batman wasn't in it, it's still amazing.
Yeah.
And this movie definitely does sell that. It really does sell the idea that this movie is awesome. So Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
You want the sequel to happen?
Oh man, I would love that sequel, especially if it was Mr. Freeze, because I feel like this world leaves itself open to the weird. Because that was the only problem that we didn't get with Nolan. Yeah, was that everything had to be realistic.
He didn't want to expand on like the outlandish part of the Batman universe.
I mean, to be totally honest, I was talking to a buddy of mine, and I think I might have mentioned it to you too. Of a great one, like a great side mission for him, or like a B plot would be another serial killer in Gotham, and that would be Mr. Pig.
Oh yeah, Professor Pig. Yeah,
Professor Pig. Because I feel like Professor Pig is a great addition.
He would fit in the Matt Reeves universe.
Not only that, but also not a lot of people know about him.
Yeah, that's true.
He's not a well-known hero. Not a well-known villain in like the Batman universe, and I can only imagine how crazy Professor Pig would be.
That, and I feel like Mad Hatter would be a good one for him to take on.
Mad Hatter. I would love to see Condiment King in
Kite
Man. No, but I really do think that would be kind of interesting. Like, I would love to see an opening sequence where he's taking down Kite Man.
That would be cool.
Like Kite Man's
especially
flying
after
through
seeing
Gotham.
like Batman fly, that inspires him to become Kite Man.
Because I just think that would be so interesting. Of like Batman has flying, like that's the beginning of the movie. Is like something happens, and then you see Kite Man flying and everything else, and then you see Batman flying behind him, and he's trying to take him down.
And Alfred's like on the comms, is like, "What are you doing, sir?" He's like,
"Just shoot him down."
Yeah,
like or you could have gravity will do your job for you.
Yeah, just wait until he lands.
Just wait until he. And I think that would be funny too.
Yeah,
that'd
be a great opening. Honestly,
that'd be a great opening. Yeah. Like you just see Kite Man flying away. And then he lands, and then Batman's just waiting.
Yeah, he's just there.
Like he calculated how his trajectory downwards, and he just got ahead of him.
That's the thing. You see Kite Man flying, and then he lands. Batman's right there, and then he's taking him to like Blackgate. And then like Alfred's talking and be like, "How did you know what would happen?" He's like, "Well, I calculated how far he would go, starting from where his distance and where he would land."
Yeah, like, just like, I just calculated it. Yeah. I figured gravity would do my job.
For me, sorry. Great. For me, in terms of a sequel, it's interesting because it is like I'll jump aboard the whole like you have a rogues gallery.
Yeah.
The Riddler didn't die. Bruce's identity wasn't revealed. Nothing like that. But for me, what caught me was that it kind of was a prequel. Like we didn't get an origin story for Batman in this movie, but we definitely got a more rounded out Batman with this movie. So like, for example, you at the end of the movie, because this is the scene, and we didn't even mention the ending yet, Rene. The ending where Batman figures out that maybe he isn't supposed to be fighting for justice just through vengeance. Maybe it's about helping out the common folk, the people that are stuck underneath the giant, TV and stuff like that, right?
Well, that just goes back to his first line in the movie. Batman's actually first spoken line in the movie when the guy says, "Who are you?" And then he goes, "I'm vengeance." And then that then leads to the very end with the the Riddler goons, and then they go, "Who are you?" And he's like, "I'm vengeance." And he realizes, I did this. I created these people because that's what I've been saying I am. That's what I said that I truly am.
He had a change of character.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting because this essentially allows for future Batman movies to progress with that. Right. So like, to me, there is no real difference between the Batman movies from Batman Begins all the way to The Dark Knight, into what's the last one for Nolan?
The Dark Knight Rises.
The Dark Knight Rises, right? There's no difference there for me. But here it kind of feels like if Reeves does get a sequel, like now we're going to be getting a year 3, year 4, year 5 Batman who's now trying to redefine how to fit into this new Gotham, this destroyed Gotham with more crime happening, with crime bosses taking advantage of the fact that the city is now split up. And it's trying to reconstruct itself.
Well, not only that, but also I do like the idea of them introducing No Man's Land. This idea that Gotham City has been destroyed, and now powerful or these super villains or these villains are now in the middle of a power grab because Falcone is gone.
Yeah.
Because the true crime lord of Gotham has now left, which leads to Black Mask, which leads to Penguin, which leads to like the Joker, which leads to all these different people trying to vie for power across Gotham, and everybody kind of thinking that Gotham is a lost cause. Because that's very much what it sounds like. It sounds like a lot of people think that Gotham is a lost cause.
Yeah.
Only Batman and Gordon have this like faith in it. And now they're trying to build that faith back up.
Yeah.
Because, right, Rene? I said it was going to be really awesome for future ones if they kind of went down the road of like No Man's Land.
Oh, that would be really good.
Of like, this is a damned city.
Yeah.
And nobody, like you don't go to Gotham.
Yeah. Where it's like Gotham's like cut off from like the rest of the world and stuff like that. And like everyone's there to fend for themselves and stuff.
Yeah.
That's where basically
Arkham
Arkham City is inspired by that almost. Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, because that's what happens in the Narrows. They basically just like turn the Narrows into this basic giant prison. They just turned it into an island prison that's in the middle. So yeah, it's sick. I'm not saying that that's what I want,
but that'd be cool if they did. I think Matt Reeves might do that. He's good at taking different aspects from the Batman comic books, and we see that in this one. You know, making Martha part of the Arkham family, which has happened a lot before. But they've never really talked about that.
I just thought of something that we mentioned in issue 87.
Sure, what's up?
So when we were talking about Matt Reeves' directing style and how he writes his characters, we were talking about, Planet of the Apes, right? And basically I said, oh yeah, Caesar, the way that he writes his protagonists is that, you have the protagonist create an action and then reach that resolution, but the protagonist then has to suffer the consequences. Like it's never of his reactions. You still get that with this character because Batman essentially reaches his end goal, but he realizes that through his actions, there were still consequences because like you said, Nick, the Riddler's followers believed that they were doing the right thing because of vengeance.
Well, not only that, but also the Riddler. The Riddler felt emboldened by Batman because he even says, we've been doing this together. Me and you were homies, dude. Like, you brought him into the light. Yeah. I told you, hey, man, so I can take him out. I couldn't get in there. I needed you. Yeah. And it's perfect.
Now we both get to watch together.
And now we get to both watch together. The Riddler was wholeheartedly behind Batman, which is also something that they kind of pulled from the Arkham games. With the Joker, where it was like you can make your own Joker, which is
the Telltale games,
the Telltale games. I always thought that was so sick of like you can actually have
you can have him as an ally.
You can have him as an ally where he's like
villain.
where he joins the Bat family, or you can have him as a villain where he becomes your Joker. And I always thought that was so cool. But yeah, because that's kind of what the Riddler does. The Riddler is a fanboy who he's Syndrome.
Basically,
the Riddler's syndrome, where he's a fanboy that once they go like, I don't need you. Yeah, like once he says, I don't need. Is he more sadistic?
I mean,
Syndrome murdered so many heroes just so that he could kill one.
Well, that's true. He was successful at killing heroes. Yeah. Just so he could be like, okay, this is the top tier of what my robots need to be.
My robots.
Yeah.
It was weird seeing that scene in The Incredibles as a kid where it's just the heroes flash and goes like deceased, deceased, destroyed, deceased.
Yeah, and then
that like whole scene is so beautifully done, especially when he's like running and then all those like bubbles are like going over him.
Oh yeah,
just the way that's edited, it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
When he finally finds Gazer Beam,
he's
like, "Oh, Gaze, man!" And then he has to hide behind his dead corpse in order to get away from the robot.
Jesus Christ!
I love that was Jason Lee doing the voice of Syndrome.
You know what they did in order for him to get that role, right?
What did they do?
They apparently somebody went to him and they asked him to be Syndrome, and then he was like, "No, I don't really. That's not something I really want to do. I've never really done voiceover work." So they got his voiceover. They used his audio from Mallrats, and then put it over Syndrome, and then animated Syndrome with
the line, doing the
lines from Mallrats.
My name's Earl.
Yeah,
what?
Jason Lee.
I didn't even know that.
You didn't know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Man. Jason Lee is also a professional skateboarder.
Yep.
What?
Yeah, he's also a professional skateboarder.
We'll talk more about this after the podcast.
You didn't know who Jason Lee was?
No, I've only seen My Name Is. That's all I know him from is My Name Is Earl.
Yeah, he's also in Incredibles. He's the villain in Incredibles.
Like in all of most of the Kevin Smith movies as well too. He's in like 3 or 4. Yeah,
he's like in 4. No, he's in 5 now because he's also in Reboot. He's also in Reboot.
Oh, that's right.
He's also in Reboot.
He plays both of his characters, right, from Chasing Amy and from
Yes.
and Mallrats. Yeah.
He plays both.
Any last thoughts before we end this issue?
That basically I will say this is my favorite Batman film of all time, but I'm biased because, again, I'm a huge Batman fan. And I finally got a Batman movie that I've been wanting for years. And this is it. I peaked in my Batman film.
For me, before we let Nick talk over here and have him go through the 10-minute spiel.
Before he goes,
this is easily the best Batman movie I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I said this before after we got out. And I'm like, I'm so glad we get to stop talking about the Nolan Batman movies and just dethrone that.
Well, I mean, and this is what I say. The Nolan movies are great, well done films.
Yes.
They're great films.
Yes.
But to me, they're not my favorite Batman movies.
No, it's this one now.
It's this one.
Yes.
Of course,
Okay.
yeah.
Finally. Thank God. But it is a movie that I would recommend 100% to a lot of people. But, with the warning that it is a heavy, heavy movie.
Yeah.
You got to be going in there. You got to be going in there willing to sit down for almost 3 hours and being attentive for those 3 hours. Because you fall asleep in that movie, you're missing some great stuff.
I forgot he was in the Chipmunks movies.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
I
think he did too.
I forgot
he only showed up for like 1.5 essentially. He was in the first one and then was like, "Oh, I'm here, but I'm going on vacation, guys." Like in the second one, and never showed up in the third one.
I think in the third one,
we're still talking about Jason Lee. Nick, final thoughts on the Batman?
No, I really do think that the Batman is the closest we've gotten to an actual an actual adaptation of Batman.
Yeah.
I think that this is a great representation of what Batman can be when the source material is taken seriously. Even if you want to get weird with, the idea of Batman, it has so much source material and so much great stories that you can pull from, that if you just give the stories a voice or a vision like Matt Reeves did, you get amazing things. And it does take an artist, because this is a piece of art. It really is, because I feel like in a lesser director's hands, this movie does not work. This movie is not as good. You don't get the performances that you did, that you do get, and all that.
Would you believe that Denis Villeneuve and Ridley Scott were all in the short list of directing this movie?
I can see that.
Yeah.
No, I can see that. But I think these would be different movies, because
completely different movies. Yeah.
But because remember, Matt Reeves rewrote this movie.
Respectfully rewrote.
Yeah, because originally they were supposed to do Ben Affleck's.
Yes,
yeah.
This was his original script that they did.
This was and then they tweaked it, and then Matt Reeves was like,
I can't do it.
You think
I want to do a different type?
Do you think that they'd ever release
Batman.
Ben Affleck's script? I kind of want to see it.
I want to see it.
I would. You know what? 10 years down the line, maybe.
Warner Brothers just needs to grow a pair and just release.
No, because they did that with Mortal.
Yeah,
that's true.
And that was maybe 10 years later.
Yeah,
like Mortal came out 10 years later.
To see a Mortal movie, honestly.
The Justice League Mortal.
Yeah.
But besides that, I think that this is it's a great movie.
Yeah.
It's definitely. Is it better than The Dark Knight?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
You were like,
No, because the one thing that really saves The Dark Knight is the Joker. Like that's
the only factor in that. That's the thing.
Heath Ledger's Joker is. Paul Dano does an amazing job, but I feel like Heath Ledger's Joker is still better.
No,
no matter what.
I can agree to that, at least.
The overall movie is better than The Dark Knight, but the villain of The Dark Knight is better than this one. And I just think go watch this movie, man. Don't listen to any critics. Like, honestly, even us, we're biased as hell. So I would definitely say go watch the movie, go enjoy it. Remember, it's 3 hours, so go to the restroom before watching it, because if you have to go to the restroom in the middle of this movie, you're done. Do not take a small child to go watch this movie.
Yeah, because they will want to go to the restroom.
Yeah, they're gonna want to go to the restroom. If you really, really want to watch it, wait until the end of next month, so that way it's on HBO Max.
Oh my god,
you can watch it.
Yes,
I'm gonna watch it, but I'm still I want to know when the freaking DVD release will be out. I'm gonna
get the 4K.
Yeah, I'm gonna get the 4K steelbook. I want a steelbook at least.
I think there's gonna be a collector's edition with this.
There has to be.
That has to be.
Well, because
There has to be.
I think they're gonna, because Hot Wheels last time came, because when I bought the Nolan one,
Mhm.
it came with Hot Wheels of the Bat and the Cycle.
I don't
I
think
feel
that
like
this
that
is
might be a
getting.
Target one.
They won't get it
that for Target.
There won't be a DVD release for this for a while because I'm assuming that what they'll do is they'll re-release it in theaters in different versions. They have to. It's if AMC put it as an artisan film, then it has to have more re-releases, I think. And DC wants, or Warner Brothers wants that money.
I'm telling you right now, man, if you give me a Reeves cut, like if he goes, man, I got a cut, and it even has an intermission. You know, hey, if it was like a glorious, was it not Inglourious Bastards?
Logan?
Hateful Eight.
Oh, Hateful Eight. Oh, yeah.
Where like right in the middle of it, it has like 15-minute intermission. Everybody go to the restroom, do what you got to do.
Yeah.
We got another hour and a half of this movie. Hope you enjoy. I would love it. I would be like, that's fine. I'm totally in. Let me get another hour of this movie, just because you know that they have the death of Savage. You know that they have an entire interrogation scene with the Riddler. You know, there's so much stuff that was probably left on the cutting room floor.
That's the thing. I was really kind of disappointed that they didn't show the death of Savage in here.
You know what? I wasn't.
I was kind of like, I was going on the lines of a Saw movie where they always show you what happens.
I like the idea because I like that idea of it's putting pressure on Batman, of like Batman's trying to do his investigation, and it's like, oh well, he has all the time he needs, and it's like, no, he's killing. Like if you don't stop him, he's gonna keep killing. And it really does kind of add to that pressure of like, oh man, like, you know, people are just dropping like flies.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed that.
Okay.
We can keep talking about this movie for anher like 2 hours, if anything.
probably.
But yeah,
Probably.
well, we're going to wrap this issue up. All right. So guys, real quick, if you guys made it this far into the issue, just a, reminder, we are giving away 2 copies of the Batman comic book that we received at the fan preview. The way to enter, again, I'm not going to repeat it because it was at the beginning of the podcast, will be in the description of this issue. So if you guys want those rules and extra entries and how to get into it, please read the description. That is the only way you guys will know. We'll be mentioning in our socials again, but if you guys want them, because they are only preview or fan preview sent out to the people that went to the fan previews, there's a way of getting them. There's 2 of them here. Best of luck to you guys, okay?
Either that or you can go to eBay
and pay money. We're actually giving these 2 away.
Yeah.
So follow us on our socials, Instagram and Twitter, Keeping Up With The Nerds, on Facebook as well as Keeping Up With The Nerds for all the up-to-date information on when we release things. Follow us on our website at keepingupwiththenerds.com. Want to know us better? We have a little page there where you guys can find out more about us. The Nerdy Planet, a place where we write articles and showcase all the thumbnails as well that we've been releasing with our podcast. That's another way you guys can keep up with us. If you guys are listening to us on audio platforms, visit us on our YouTube channel, Keeping Up With The Nerds, where we upload the visual presentation of the podcast as well as some skits and upcoming videos. There was a lot to talk about. We didn't talk about Gotham as a character. We didn't talk about the reviews that were being released, but you guys can follow, or you guys can find those videos regarding those topics on our YouTube channel, Keeping Up With The Nerds. Subscribe, like the videos. Let us know what you guys think on those comment sections. Anything else?
Anybody else notice that he didn't use a batarang in this movie?
Well, there's a big batarang in his chest.
You didn't throw it.
That's
No, I
fine.
didn't
We'll get
throw
that
it,
in the
yeah.
sequel.
Yeah.
All right, Rene.
Honestly, I really did. When the thing was hanging,
Yeah.
I thought he was gonna pull it off.
Yeah, you said. I heard you from across the way. I was like, "It's a batarang," and I'm just like,
I was like,
"Throw
throw it! and then he jumps and cuts it, and I'm like, oh, lame.
All right.
Rene, take us away, buddy.
This has been Keeping Up With The Nerds, issue 88. I'm Rene,
This is Brian.
And Nick.
recording at Undercity Comics in Whittier, California. We thank you all for listening and watching this issue and hope to see you all next time.